This is happy right here. This is a happy mood that Carl has. Oh, I love Carl. Okay, so I like it when Carl's happy. And of course, everyone wants to see their babies happy. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about when Carl's not happy. Carl will hiss, guys. He will hiss like this right here. That right there. Carl. 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 What? Carl. What the? Get off me, mother. What the is that all about? Hey, folks. Lester here. I'm coming to you. I'm a wreck. I'm just going to say it. I am a wreck. Jamie won't even let me in the house. I'm such a mess. But I'm coming to you on a mid-August, hot afternoon. And I want to talk to y'all about Carl. What I've done is compiled a list of 10 things that you probably don't know about our ostrich Carl. Now, for the last 2 weeks, and we've had Carl exactly 2 weeks today, for the last 2 weeks, we've been real careful to only show you guys the neat stuff about Carl. Hey, Carl! Because I will admit, he is a really neat character. He's an amazing addition to the farm, and we wanted to make sure that you guys were able to see snippets of that in our videos. But as you will see in today's video, it is uncut, unedited, and not everything about Carl is as delightful as what you've all come to think it is. And that's fine, because we're all about the good, the bad, and the ugly, being transparent like that. Carl is an amazing little guy, and we're very blessed to have him. And just like all of our babies, and just like all of us, we have our bad habits. And so we take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so you guys sit back and enjoy, and let's get right to 10 things that I bet you didn't know about Carl, and things that you're never going to find. Things you're never going to find on Google, YouTube, until now, or those silly TikTok videos you guys seen. So one of the first things that I've learned about Carl that no one ever mentions in any video is that ostriches can choke on food. Now, I've learned the hard way, I'm sorry to admit, I have learned the hard way that for Carl to eat safely, I have to pretty much break up his food into very small bites. Now, of course, I know what you're gonna say. Lester, out in the wild, there ain't no one breaking up food into small bites, okay? Well, we're not in the wild. I'm not sure how the ostriches adapt out in other parts of the world, but here I've learned that if you're not careful with Carl, he will eat so fast that things can get lodged in his throat, like right about midway down, and Carl will choke. So you have to be very careful in how and what you feed him. Oh, he's choking. You understand?
No.
Está ahogando.
No.
Yo creo. I think he's choking. Not bad. He's trying to get that grape out of his throat.
El agua.
You think? He's going to eat a rock. He's going to eat a rock to help me get that grape down. Oh, yeah.
Ya se le quitó.
Yeah, it's gone. He got it, good folks. He did it. He's having to clean his throat out with water. And, you know, it's kind of like a kid. You know, sometimes kids will eat so fast that they can end up choking themselves and without chewing their food. Well, Carl has no teeth, so he can't really chew his food. He just swallows it whole. But you have to be careful that whatever you give him is small enough where he doesn't end up choking on it. What's wrong? All right, so that's one thing I've learned about Carl. It's a pretty interesting fact. Hey, Trudy. The second thing that I've learned about Carl is that he likes a routine. Carl needs a routine in his life. It's very windy out here. Let me move inside the barn. I can't be as close to Carl, but at the same time, you're not going to have to struggle having to hear me over the wind. I'm going to walk inside the barn, if you don't mind, because it's too windy out here. You want to come with? Come on, buddy. Come on, Carl. So I'm going to go inside the barn here, and it'll knock off quite a bit of that wind. let's continue talking a little bit about Carl. And he doesn't really like to come into closed spaces, which that will be something that we're going to get to a little bit later on. But Carl likes a routine, y'all. He likes consistency. And what I've discovered is, oh, well, now you got to hear the pig grunting. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to avoid so many distractions, but it's hard to get away from everybody, okay? Carl likes a routine and consistency. Let me show you an example. Today I'm wearing one of my gray hats, and you already know that I like to wear my little I'm a Survivor Sanctuary or my farming hats around the house. But one day I came outside and I was wearing a different hat, and I noticed that Carl's demeanor was very, very different. I'm trying to find where he went. Carl's demeanor was very, very different, and he kept looking at my hat. There he is. And I came to realize that Carl was not comfortable with the change in hat color. And so there's minor things. Of course, everyone can Google that ostriches are drawn to bright, shiny objects. You don't wear earrings, blah, blah, blah. But I've learned just a lot more than that. With an ostrich, you have to be very careful about changing up the routine. He likes to be fed in the same locations every time we feed up. And so those are just a couple of things that I've learned. If I feed him in a different pasture, he's very reluctant to eat. He just doesn't seem to really be as comfortable. I'm going to say this, and I hope that no one of my family watches this far into my videos. Most of you guys have already tuned out as well, and that's fine. But I'm going to whisper it. Carl has favorites. It's true. Y'all, I don't know exactly what makes an animal choose you. You know, we always like to think that, you know, we have a favorite cat or a favorite dog, but have you ever realized that maybe that dog or cat has a favorite human as well? And so, you know, many times in life, your animal will choose you. And I have noticed that Carl has also chosen his favorites. And I'm just happy, I'm just lucky that I'm on that end of his favorites list. I'm Carl's favorite around here. We all interact with them. Jamie does a lot with them. Ellie and Jake also get out here with them. But Carl likes me. And it's very evident and it's obvious in all the videos that an ostrich, just like other animals, other farm animals and your other dogs and cats, and they do have favorites. And I don't know why or how. I can maybe, don't think it's the amount of time that you spend with them necessarily, because, you know, a lot of folks spend time with Carl. All of us feed Carl, so don't think it's the hand that feeds him. I think it's something else. I think that maybe an animal can read something inside of a human. I don't know exactly. I've always heard that you always try to read your children and your animals when you're dating someone new, especially for you ladies that are trying to date a man. You listen to your kids and your animals, because they can tell a fake real fast. They can tell a fake real fast. And so I'm not trying to say that Ellie and Jake and Jamie are a fake necessarily with Carl, but I do know that they pick favorites. You know, along with that, he also has his favorite games. So Carl likes a game that Jamie plays with him, a little peekaboo game, where Carl will kind of move his head down under the fence, under this top post, the top, oh my God, I can't. Carl will put his eye, he'll move his head down underneath that top board. And as Jamie's video, and Carl will pop up and look at her, and she'll say peekaboo, and he goes right back down real fast, which is a cute game. He also loves playing in water. Anything that has to do with water, he'll gargle it. He'll splash it around. So I've learned that Carl, and I'm guessing all ostriches, they actually have their favorite games. They have their favorite people, and they have their favorite games. And I love that. I also know that when it comes to Carl, guys, sorry to say this, I don't mean to freak you out, but size doesn't matter. You know that Janky Jan, our little female turkey, has fallen in love with Carl. Oh, she loves Carl. And the funny thing is, Carl also likes her. They spend a lot of time together. And now, even though there's obviously no future with those two, it's cute how they have kind of bonded together. And as much as Jan follows him around, he also has been known to follow her, which is really sweet. So when it comes to love and romance, size doesn't matter. And before you start saying anything about Lester, he's going to hurt Cornholio. No, he's not. Cornholio tries to get inside of it and break them all up. But they just kind of dance around together. Jan does her little dance for him, and he does her dance for him, and he does his dance for her. A lot of y'all have witnessed that in first person, which was really sweet. Hi, Carl. I was going to show y'all next his gestures. So what he's doing right here with his wings, I have learned about his gestures. Y'all, he uses his body language a lot. I can tell Carl's moods from the way he moves his wings. Now, when he makes himself big and puffy and tries to make himself extra large, that is usually a defensive mechanism. And I've noticed that he just doesn't want to be bothered. He's agitated by something. He's just not comfortable. And so he gets really, really, really big. And at the same time, when he bounces his wings up like he does right there, and he starts bouncing his wings up, that's a happy mood. Carl's in a very happy mood right now. And even though his face always looks happy, or maybe terrifying, depends on who you ask, Carl's in a happy mood. And when he's in a happy mood, he'll actually let me even touch him sometimes. Carl, I'm bragging on you. This is happy right here. This is a happy mood that Carl has. Oh, I love Carl. Okay, so I like it when Carl's happy. And of course, everyone wants to see their babies happy. Okay, Carl. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about when Carl's not happy. Carl will hiss, guys. He will hiss like this right here. That right there. Carl! Carl, what the fuck? Carl, what the fuck? Carl, what the fuck you doing, bitch? Get off me, motherfucker. What the fuck was that all about? What the hell, Carl? What the heck, Carl? Okay, so I'm just gonna walk away from Carl. Okay, well, you know what? So, what was I saying? I seem to have lost my train of thought. And I'm also going to tell you something else. I think it was because I had those grapes in my pocket and I stopped feeding them to him. He did not like that. Well, he sure ain't going to get them now. Little jerk. Yeah, I had to deal with that a couple of times from Carl. A lot of people were telling me about the fear of an ostrich and how much I'm breathing hard because that frightened me. That's not the first time he's done that, by the way. But what's strange about that is I was just telling you how you can read his moods. And I saw happy. That right there is happy. That is his happy dance. His happy hands. And then he went to being angry all in one moment. Just in a so here, you got to see this. You got to see this. Read that right there. You see that? His demeanor, his gestures, and his moods. How funny is that? Well, not too funny actually, because I wasn't laughing a few minutes ago when Carl come up on me. But so yes, going back to my list, I've learned that Carl does have, you can always read his demeanor. Okay, you can almost always read his demeanor. You can almost always read Carl's demeanor, and you have to know his moods. And obviously, I'm still working on that one. I also said that Carl makes noises. Guys, I know you just now heard the hiss. Now, the hiss is something that we've seen a lot from our geese. Anyone that's watched any of our videos, You know, when those geese come after me, you can always hear them hiss. Well, you just now heard Carl hiss as well. And they do. They can open their mouths and make this horrible hissing noise. And it's just all in a show of dominance, I think. It's maybe kind of scary. The whole neck kind of does the snake-like cobra strike stuff. And it's quite scary. But like I was saying, bowing up is one thing. And that's whenever I see Carl and he has that posture where he's all bowed up and he's kind of opening in his mouth and he's hissing, it always lets me know that he's agitated by something. I don't always know what it is. I'm still trying to figure that part out. I need to figure out exactly what kind of things bother him. Like I said, though, I know from an experience that it could be whatever I'm wearing. Now, obviously, I'm not wearing anything out of the ordinary today. A regular gray shirt, a regular gray hat, and khaki shorts and Crocs. And that's about the way he sees me most of the time. But I've seen Jake come out with sunglasses and Carl gets bothered. I've seen LE walk out with different, mostly LE's phone. LE's phone has a case on it and it has a shiny thing and his driver's license and stuff's inside the case. And Carl cannot stop eyeballing that phone. Of course, Jamie has her pearls and her earrings and colorful dresses. So we've noticed Carl act different around different things that he gets agitated by. Maybe he's just nervous, not sure exactly what it is, but yeah. So noises, demeanor. Let me walk back and look at my list again. I used to have the memory to remember stuff like this. A couple more things I've noticed about Carl. This is pretty neat right over here. Respecting boundaries. Guys, seriously, this is very, very, very important. Carl does respect the boundaries of the other babies. Now, I'm not going to say he respects my boundaries all the time. Carl comes to me whenever he wants attention. But as far as the other babies go, and even though I know a lot of you guys were very fearful of what could happen, the what ifs, Carl loves those babies. And whenever they're eating, even if he wants what they're eating, he never goes up to them and takes stuff away, ever. He's never done it. Instead, he waits his turn. He will move around till he finds an open pile of feed. And whereas our goats respect no one's boundaries, our pigs respect no boundaries, Carl respects everybody's boundaries. I also have on here that he's always cautious and curious. I think I learned that from day one. When Carl first came to the pasture on day one, Carl would just kind of walk around real slow, walked all along the fences, and he was always looking for an escape plan. Carl always had an escape plan. He always, no matter where he went, no matter which pasture he was in, he always had a way to escape if he felt threatened. And he never put himself into a corner. He never put himself into a spot where he could not run from if he needed to. And so, as you know, Carl has now been in 4 different pastures over the last 2 weeks. And each time he's moved into a new pasture, he's always been very cautious. I mean, I've opened the gates, I've pulled, I would offer feed, and he just took his sweet time walking into the pasture. He would circle the fences. He would kind of make sure that he always had an escape plan for a just-in-case scenario. Got a couple more things here out of the 10 things I know about Carl. Oh, guys, this is important. He likes eye contact. If you ever watch Carl, like in our videos, he's always looking at your face. It's important to him that you always make eye contact. And in saying so, sometimes when you're carrying your cell phone around making a video, I think that Carl sometimes sees you looking down at that camera and not looking up at him. Now, even though you're looking at the camera of what you're videoing, I think that he likes you looking up at him. And so eye contact's important. He's always looking in your eyes and he wants you to always look back into his. And so that's really, really, really neat. Something that we've noticed over the last 2 weeks. All right, finally, there's one last thing that I wrote on my list over here. This is kind of funny. He is an look at the sweat pouring off of me. He is an attention seeker. Guys, this is cute, and it makes me feel so special coming home. But I get home from work, and Carl comes running. And listen to me, he's not running for food. We feed Carl in the morning before I go to work. We feed him in the afternoon, and he has feed set out for him most of the day. But Carl just loves attention. If you're outside in the yard, no matter which spot of the yard I'm in, Carl's always over there trying to get attention. He wants to hang out. He wants to watch you. He wants you to watch him. And he wants to be a part of whatever you're doing, which is really, really, really neat. Other things that I've learned about Carl, but I'm afraid you probably have already learned from other videos, is that they will sometimes eat things you don't want them to eat, like this. We always have to be very careful in our pastures to pick up any hay strings. They walk around eating things like feathers, and I don't know exactly where that goes inside of them. I guess the gizzard, I've read, but you have to always be careful of what they are eating, and make sure you always keep all the trash picked up out of your pastures. So we make several rounds every day. I don't know how, but I'm always finding little things, little pieces of trash here and there. You guys know that after Hurricane Harvey, this is where they buried my house and all of the contents of my house. That's why they has this big indention. But every once in a while after a heavy rain, it seems like little things slowly come back up, and Carl will find those things. So, all right, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. 10 things you probably didn't know about Carl or the ostrich in general. Thank y'all for watching.